Hi, I'm Allan Cossentine. I've been with All West for 39 years. We're sitting here in Paso Robles, California. This is where we're retiring. Probably one of the few people in the industry that didn't have a dairy background at all. I went in the military when I was 19 years old and then decided that I wanted a college degree and transferred to UC Davis as a pre-med student. And it is wonderful to know that God has his hand in things, because I would have been a terrible doctor. I decided to make this radical change, having grown up about 2 miles from Santa Anita down in Southern California, and I used to love to go to the races. So I decided I was going to change my degree to animal science and get a job training thoroughbred horses. My degree in animal nutrition, basically, out of Davis. I actually had milk cows at Davis for 1 quarter, so I actually had touched a cow before then. During that time, I had met my wife Susie and bought a small ranch in Acampo, California. We had 10 acres of irrigated pasture and had cattle, and that was quite an experience because neither one of us knew a thing about it, but we kind of learned on the go. At the time, Eastern AI was looking to hire someone, and I knew a little bit about AI because I'd had some of my cattle AI'd. Interviewed, got the job with Eastern AI, went through that, but I needed to move from up there. So we sold our ranch and ended up in Hanford, California in 1977. I was with them for 2 years and they fired me. I was their top salesman and they still didn't like me. I don't know. As it turned out, at that time, Susie was working for a fellow that was very close friends to Norman Martin, who everybody in California knows, and a great friend of All West, was on the board for years. Norman was very good friends with Lloyd Vieira, so when my wife went to work and was very distraught and told who she was working for that I'd been fired, he called Norman, and Norman said, well, I really like the guy. So he called Lloyd, and about a week later, Dick Chichester happened to be out here, so I met and had dinner with Lloyd and Dick and had an interview. And if you ask Dick to this day, the one thing he'll remember is that we were talking about bulls and bulls and type, and I said, oh, I can sell minus type bulls, because that's all I had to sell with Eastern at the time. And Dick just thought that was, I guess, the perfect answer for him, because if I felt like I could sell minus type bulls, I could sell their bulls. Now I was back employed within 2 weeks. Superior Sires, it's in my tat, it says Superior. I will forever be in their debt for that. They took me on, I was feeling pretty low. You get fired. I'd never been fired in my life from anything. When I went to work for them, there was one girl in the office named Bertha, and the office was at Tom Olson's house. There was like 5 or 6 of us that worked in all of California back then. And you talk about family, and it was just family, and even all the way through All West, it was just amazingly family. But Tom and Lloyd took me in, and then they made me sales manager. I used to send a card thanking Eastern for firing me for a couple of years. It was the best thing that ever happened, and it was just tremendous. I mean, working for them, because it wasn't like, having a real job, because they were like your best friends. They took care of us. We would have done it just for those 2 guys. I mean, that's what they meant to all of us. I was amazingly blessed to be in probably the best place in the world to sell semen in our counties and work for the very best company in the world. 6 months after they hired me, they hired Dennis. He came on and rode with me, and I keep telling him that all of his success is due to me and my trainings. The relationship that we have, Dennis and Donnie and Marvin and Greggy and all the folks that have come along, we just, it's been just an absolute blessing. I never didn't want to get up and go to work. Back when I first started, to go out and sell semen, you get there, actually a lot of times the dairymen were actually happy to see you. They'd take you in and have coffee. It was a big thing for them to go and look at the bulls. They would buy semen. They wanted to look at the bull books. They wanted to see what you were doing and talk about it. It was kind of a fun thing for them. And I remember the worst part of selling was when you'd go into a dairy and the guy was milking. That's another thing. You don't see people milk their own cows anymore. Way back in the day they did. And try to sell somebody semen when they're milking their cows and you're walking up and down, back and forth, trying to stay out of their way when they're milking their cows and maybe trying to show them, here, look at this one bull, you know, type of thing. It was amazingly different back then. The bulls obviously kept getting better and better, and the more information just came along. And then of course when the computer age came along, folks were able to go online, especially the younger generation coming on. And I'm doing business with grandchildren of the people I started doing business with. And they don't have to look at the bull book, they go on and they go to the website, and they put in their own parameters, everybody can do this, and that's a huge big change, because you don't spend hours. We would go in and sometimes, I mean, you go to some customers and you would be there an hour and a half because they wanted to look at every page of your bull book with you. This genomic thing is just like the biggest hitter ever. They go out and pull a piece of hair off a day-old calf, and within a few days they know pretty much exactly what they have. The jump in genetics for our dairymen is just amazing. I mean, the fact that we are selling semen on bulls whose grandfathers don't have live daughters milking yet is just freaky. Lots of changes. It's really, really good for the industry, for the dairymen. I would like to think that I had a really good rapport with my customer. I think over the years it was, you do, you know, become close to most of your customers, because you don't only see them when you're selling to them. You see them at the DHIA dinners, you see them at the fair, you might see them at church, you might see them, you know, it's a really very special community. I never wanted to be a salesman ever in my life. And when I first got started, I heard a saying. It said that a really good salesman is someone that can sell someone something they don't want or need. And I said, I never want to be that guy. I didn't want to be a good salesman with that definition of a good salesman. I've always tried to treat my customers the way I'd want to be treated if I had a dairy myself. I've put my customers probably before the company, because I figure without the customers we don't have a company. And I think that I've been as loyal as I could be. They could count on me. There's been people in the industry that wanted to tell us over the years how lucky the customers were to have us and select Sires and us. And they're very fortunate to have been able to get semen from a wonderful company and the wonderful bulls. But I've always felt like I was very fortunate to have the customers. And that's been kind of my creed all along. I just always respected my customers. I think the golden rule is just an amazing thing to use. Treat people the way you'd like to be treated, and it worked out. I wanted to thank All West and thank Jim Wells for letting me slide into this retirement over the last year, giving away accounts as I went. And for me, it was really, really special, because I feared retirement more than almost anything I could think of. One of the most frightening things that's happened in the last month is that I actually was laying in bed at 8 o'clock one morning, and that hasn't happened unless I was ill or beat up or broken-legged like I was. And so she goes, why aren't you up? And I go, I don't have any reason to get up. It was probably the most frightening moment of this retirement thing. I've worked or been in school or worked or both since I was 12 years old, and it's the thought of not having anything to do was really frightening. But being able to kind of slide into it and realize that not having anything to do wasn't that frightening at times, that it was just a wonderful, wonderful experience. Thank you, Jim, for letting it happen. It was very, very special. Lloyd is just like the biggest brother we had. And you're working for this guy, and he's still so concerned about you and your family. It was just amazing. Bill Genesi, just a great guy, and probably the best coach, if you want to call it that, or manager you could ask for, because he never would blame you. I think I said this on one of the other videos. It was more like, Allan, we have a problem. We need to figure out how to fix it. You know, it's your fault, but we're going to fix it. So, but Bill was great. Dennis, one of my dearest and closest friends. Donnie also, Marvin, Greggy. All the new folks are coming. I've been very close with Angie because we work with her on the deal too. Many, many dairymen that I could mention, but that wouldn't be fair because I'd leave too many out if I did that. Dutch Aldrich had a big part in most of our lives. Dutch told me once that he worked 7 years without taking a day off. I thought that was, as I thought about it, pretty doggone amazing. I think all of us would have done that if that's what it took. To be able to be in a place, in a job, make a good living, work with friends every day, and still be able to arrange your time so you can coach all your kids' little league and soccer games, which we were able to do, be involved with all of that. It's just a privilege that a lot of people don't have. I was on the road quite a bit when I first started with Lloyd and Tom with Superior Sires, because I was up in Turlock and over at the coast, and we had 3 children, and Susie was by herself a lot. Her ability to take care of the family and do it at an amazing high level allowed me to be gone. And I know I'm not the only salesman in the world that has that situation, but I would be very wrong if I didn't thank her and tell her how much I have loved being with her for almost 43 years.
We're going to have our 43rd anniversary in February, and it's been it's been an amazing trip. It really has, a wild ride, and we're going to keep driving that car for a while, I think. So
we've been so blessed. I really like cows. I mean, a cheeseburger is amazing, and I say that only because I didn't grow up with cows, okay? But I've learned to really, really appreciate the dairy industry, the love of the dairy industry, of those involved in it. It's just been amazing. I tell my customers every time I talk to them, I said, thank you for your trust, for letting me, trusting me to do this. So, and that's where we are, 41 years later.
come visit. We're ready to rock and roll, and there's just too many things to do in Paso Robles. This is an amazing place. We never in our life thought we would leave Hanford ever. She's going to retire at the end of this year also, and she's done books for the same dairyman for over 30 years. So yeah, we've had a great, unbelievable relationship with the dairy industry, and I tell you what, being part of this whole community in the dairy it's an amazing blessing. The people are just wonderful. Hopefully they have liked us as much as we've liked them.